Automation is changing, and it's changing fast. Topic of my discussion today with Jayesh Mehta, Industry Group Manager with MHI. Hello, Jayesh.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, thank you very much for being with me. What would you say has been the role of automation? How has it changed in these last couple of years?
It's changed quite a bit. I mean, honestly, with the pandemic, people changed their buying habits. We're now looking at people not going to the stores anymore, that they are now looking at getting things shipped to them, which changes all the whole paradigm of how warehouses used to do things. They used to send things to, distribution centers, and then it went to a supermarket. Now they have to go to, direct from the warehouse to shipping to the house. So it's changed how they're doing this. Basically, the micro fulfillment has changed dramatically, and with automation, you trying to track everything, trying to get everything packaged properly, get it so that it's the most efficient way of sending packages.
Yeah.
And not just packages within, to the consumer, but also within the supply chain, like within manufacturers. Like a parts supplier now needs to send more things to the manufacturing facilities. So because of that, a lot of automation is changing, because they now need to have software that is going to be more robust and planned, and almost an AI type of software. Bringing in robots, also because of the labor shortage, they're bringing in robots, and they're bringing in automated guided vehicles, AMRs, putting in conveyors, ASRS. All of these automated things are coming into play much more to make things efficient.
Well, certainly we were seeing that before the pandemic. Automation was part of what was going on in warehousing for the last decade or more. Yes. But what you're suggesting, I think, is the very nature of what constitutes a warehouse is different. It's widening, it's broadening to the point where you get the million square foot warehouse and the micro fulfillment center, and automation has to respond in kind. So.
Exactly, and it's because of that, automation was exploding the last couple of years. So much so that the demand has almost, I won't say it has outstripped, but has put a strain on the supply.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies are now struggling to actually get enough automation into their end users, into these warehouses.
I wonder if you think that maybe you would agree with me that one of the most interesting aspects of automation today is its flexibility.
Yes.
Is the idea that warehouses have to scale up or scale down in accordance with peak seasons and valleys in their operations. The economy goes up and down. You don't want to get locked into a system that's not going to work for you 2 years from now. So
exactly.
is that an interesting trend? How do you see that developing?
That's developing more like in the microcells. Basically, like you had said, they're trying to find things that can be scalable. Things that they can reuse if there is a change like this, even a seasonal change. We saw this beforehand, but not to this extent. But you have robots that could be put onto blocks or onto a roller that can actually move to another area and do a different job. You have conveyors that now, there's mobile conveyors where they will put those on wheels as well and move it. You have AMRs, AGVs, which have to be reprogrammed when they redesign how the warehouse looks, to accommodate all these changes. You have places that didn't normally buy automation. They were very, person-centric, if you will. They wanted to make sure that they had their people there. But like I said, when people leaving,
so much for being person-centric if you don't have the people.
And not only that, so much to be in business. If you can't get the product out,
right?
So now they're bringing in the automation, so that way they can still keep the people, but keep the people that are actually wanting to be there, rather than trying to find new people that are going to only be there for a short term.
Sure. What would you describe as the biggest challenge involved in implementing automation in the warehouse today?
The biggest challenges is the flexibility. That's one of the biggest challenges. The other one is supply. Obviously, there's a lot of parts that are being held up in customs. I mean, everybody's heard about the millions of ships that are sitting outside of California because they can't. And so people who are sourcing parts from the Far East are having an issue trying to get those parts. So now they're trying to find other places that they can get parts, but like from Europe or even within the U.S. But you're also looking at quality and so on and so forth. So basically, if with some of this automation, it can take more than a year and a half to actually get that automation in the facility.
Yeah.
So it's time.
Interesting, because we've talked all this time about the shortage and the inability to get product in.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about the actual material handling systems themselves in order to handle the product are themselves difficult to acquire for the exact same reason.
Exactly, yeah. Because the facilities are not here, not always in the U.S., and even like a lot of European ones, they have a month and a half waiting time for a small little electronic part. But you need that electronic part to make everything else work. And if you don't have that, so that pushes out timelines. And again, there are certain products that will go a little bit faster, like conveyors. Those you can implement very quickly. Robots, some of the robots you can implement very quickly. AGVs, AMRs, they're having a little bit of a problem. ASRS, not so much of a problem. They have a little bit of sourcing problems, but like the structure is there. Everything is there, but there's like little components here and there that will hold everything up.
So what additional changes do you think we might see going forward in automation in the warehouse?
I see them sourcing more multiple vendors instead of going with a single point vendor. So that way it makes transitions easier, makes deliveries easier. And not from the same countries. So that way you can diversify. If there's an issue with the European side, they can go to the Asian side, or they can go to the South American or North American sides, wherever they can get those parts. I see more and more that because of that, you're going to get shorter lead times in the future. Not in the near future, not in the next 6 months, but in the next year or so, I feel like you're going to see a lot shorter lead times on getting automation into these plants. I also see that they're going to do more futuristic automation. Things that they can't do right now, like there are limitations for all automation. They can't do everything, but you have a lot of new startups that are coming into the market that are finding those little niches and finding those little niches are things that are the difference between having two different pieces of automation or a slower piece of automation to moving things a lot quicker.
Thank you so much, Jayesh, for those insights into automation in the warehouse today. I'd like to take a moment, though, to ask you about specifically what role is MHI playing today in automation in the industry, specifically with regard to education?
Right now, I am the industry group manager for most of the automation groups, which includes ASRS, the robotics group, the MAG group, which does mobile automation and AGVs, and the conveyor and sortation systems. We are trying to put out as much education through educational seminars for the end users, not for industry, but for the end users. Letting them know what we can do, what each one of these pieces of automation can do. We are putting out blogs we have a warehouse automation blog. So we're putting blogs out for each one of those groups in one area, so that people are not searching if they're searching for robots, they're not only going to just robots, but they can find out other things like conveyors that may deal with robots and using things in conjunction. We're trying to show that no one piece is going to be the savior. At times you need multiple pieces to bridge it all together throughout your facilities for automation.
Thanks so much, Jayesh, for those insights into the industry in general and MHI specifically. I really appreciate you being with me today.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been speaking with Jayesh Mehta of MHI. Thank you very much for watching.